the structure they've created is one of like Russian dolls, one doll inside a bigger doll inside a bigger doll. So a bank in the high street goes inside a bigger pyramid, which is the bank as a whole, and that goes inside a bigger pyramid, which is the banking system as a whole, and eventually there's this pyramid that encompasses, like I say, the whole of the banking system and all of the banks and financial houses, and at the top of that pyramid are a handful of families dominated by the House of Rothschild, the Rockefellers in America too. The transnational corporations that are behind globalization in the way it's expressed, they too are pyramids, which go into eventually a pyramid that encompasses all the transnational corporations, and at the top of that pyramid are the same families that are controlling the banks. Then you have the pharmaceutical cartel, you have the oil cartel, you have the biotech cartel. All these companies in these different areas are pyramids that are encompassed by a pyramid that encompasses their whole, if you like, subject area, be it biotech or pharmaceuticals. And at the top of all these pyramids are the same families. And so down through these apparently unconnected institutions and corporations, from this pyramid peak comes the same policy of incessant centralization of power. And because the families control the governmental pyramids, they are able to pass laws that benefit the banking pyramid, the pharmaceutical pyramid, the biotech pyramid, the oil pyramid, etc. So because of this structure of pyramids within bigger pyramids within bigger pyramids, a very few people can run the whole system, while vast numbers of people who are working within that system are contributing to their own enslavement. They're building their own prisons for themselves, their children and their grandchildren, without any idea that that's what they're doing. And so let's just come to this other vital point that goes with what I've just said. How do they do this? How do they push this on? There's two techniques. One I call problem, reaction, solution, and the other one I call the totalitarian tiptoe. Problem, reaction, solution. You want to change the world in a way that you know that if you announce it openly, you're going to get a big reaction against it. So you don't announce it openly. You, first of all, create a problem. There's another version of this, by the way, called no problem, reaction, solution, I call it. And this is when you don't have a real problem, but you create the perception of one. Weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, global warming caused by human activity. So you create or invent a problem, stage one. You then tell the people through an unquestioning mainstream media. Oh my God, drains me when I even think about the mainstream media. The version of the problem that you want the people to believe, i.e. Bin Laden was behind 9/11, and 19 hijackers that couldn't fly one-engine Cessnas suddenly manifested the ability to fly wide-body jets with fantastic skill. That there is weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, that the planet's threatened by climate change caused by human activity, all these things. You want the people to be fed this false cover story because you're looking at stage two for a reaction from the people. The reaction you want is fear, outrage, and words to the effect of something must be done, what are they going to do about it? And that allows those that covertly created the problem, got the reaction from the public, to then openly offer the solutions to the problems they've created, which are changes in legislation and what have you, that transform society in the image that they want. So when you look at climate change, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is a fake organisation out of the United Nations. It's supposed to be the result of 2,500 scientists from all over the world that came to the conclusion that the debate was over. It was definitely caused by human carbon emissions. And that turns out to be nothing like the case at all. First of all, some of the scientists were counted twice. A lot of the so-called scientists weren't scientists at all. And tens of thousands of scientists now are saying that either it's not proven, and more overwhelmingly, it's a joke that carbon dioxide from human activity is causing change to the climate. People don't realise, because no one tells them, is that carbon dioxide, first of all, we wouldn't be here without it. Right, it's the demon, carbon dioxide. Oh, without it, we wouldn't be here. There'd be no life on Earth.
I've heard it called poison in
it's
TV
unbelievable.
shows and stuff like that.
It's unbelievable. So, first of all, if you take the 100% of different greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, the natural occurring carbon dioxide as well as the human-produced carbon dioxide, is a tiny, tiny, infinitesimal fraction of what we call greenhouse gases. Right up into the 90% is water vapour and clouds. What are we going to do, ban them? It's ridiculous. And when you follow the story back, and I did that in my last book, but you know, there's some excellent stuff on the internet about this, with videos and what have you. When you follow it back, it was just, again, a creation of repetition. You know, temperatures have been going down in the last few years. Notice, they don't say global warming anymore, they say climate change. Because global warming doesn't stand up, because it's not warming, it's getting colder. And they're even now, one of Al Gore's friends, a guy called Hansen, who produced much of the data to prove climate change, he's been exposed for fixing the temperatures to make them seem warmer than they are, just lying, basically. And when you look at this whole climate change story, it is complete fabrication, and it's been done with such funding and with such calculation, with such organisation and with such suppression of the alternative view, that they have turned an extraordinary lie into a widely, overwhelmingly accepted truth. Yeah. And Al Gore, first of all, he's got his carbon footprints the size of Godzilla's, and secondly, he's making a fortune out of the perception of global warming, because he's heavily involved and was from the start, way back, in the development of this cap and trade carbon trading system, where the banks and the financiers and the Gores are going to make a fortune. Al Gore is one of the most corrupt people you will ever come across if you look into his background. You don't become vice president to Bill Clinton unless you are totally and utter corrupt and have no morals and have no shame about lying about anything. And there he is. He's been the man, more than anyone else, who's sold this nonsense to the world. And what's happening now, Kirk? It's just happening in America. They are introducing problem, reaction, solution legislation that allows the climate police to go into your home without permission, to do an energy audit of your life, and there are thousands of dollar fines if you refuse to let them in.
Or possibly 2 years in prison.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just part of the Orwellian state. And if you haven't got a problem to justify introducing it, then invent one, and they have, called climate change. And people have fallen again for the everybody knows that. And who are they targeting most? The children in the schools.
Yeah.
Because if they can get them to believe this nonsense now, then they'll have them for life.